What's up, boys? Just got to go through my standard, making sure everything's working well. Let's check this all out. Let's see if we're all up and ready. Yep, perfect. Alrighty, boys. We got another live stream. One thing that I'm going to be trying to do is do live streams a little bit more frequently. I'm trying to go forward with this channel a little bit more. I'm trying to post a little bit more. I'm trying to go live a little bit more, and just to interact with you boys, make some more videos for you guys, do some more live streams for you guys. But anyways, let's get into the topic of the video. Hopefully, we get some people joining in as this live stream goes on. I'll be trying to live stream also for a little bit longer than normal as well. But anyways, let's get into it. So there's some UFC news that came out, not like today or anything, but relatively recently, that Movsar Evloev said that he's not fighting for the title. And there's been also a lot of rumors that it's going to be Yair versus Alexander Volkanovski for the title, which obviously is a pretty big disappointment. A lot of people, including myself, want to see Movsar just fight for the belt already, regardless of if he has finishes on his record or if he doesn't have finishes. It's pretty clear that he deserves it at this point. He's been on a pretty decent win streak. He just beat Aljamain Sterling. He's beaten a lot of guys at the top of 145 pounds, and it's pretty obvious that this is the guy that does deserve it. But it seems like the UFC is going with Yair. They're going to have him headline the UFC Mexico card. Now, obviously, it's not guaranteed yet. It hasn't been made official by Dana or by the UFC, but a lot of times what happens is when we see these reports coming out about a potential fight between these guys, or between anybody really, a lot of times it does end up getting made, at least as of late. A lot of times lately, those little live streams that Dana doesn't really bring any new information. It's kind of information we already know. So it seems like the Yair fight is probably going to happen, which is kind of unfortunate. But I think this is a larger issue for the UFC. It's not just this one fight. I think we have a larger issue as well, because when you look at some of the fights coming up, we have Merab versus Sean. Obviously, an undeserving fight for Sean. Yes, he is very good. Yes, he is very entertaining to watch. But coming off 0 fights and getting an immediate title shot obviously isn't warranted. And I think we're seeing this a little bit more with the UFC lately, where they're just pushing guys that they think are stars, or pushing fights that they think will make them a lot of money, instead of just putting the fights that should be put together. The guys, stars make themselves. The UFC doesn't need to push or pick specific guys that are going to be stars. I sorry, I really think that that if you just match make based on the rankings to an extent, and have these guys fight each other, have the guys that should fight for the title fight for the title, I just think it would be a much better thing in the long run for the company. But it seems like they're going with guys that they think are going to be stars, and matching them up, and seeing what happens from there. So obviously it's kind of unfortunate, but we got Merab versus Sean. Then the next pay-per-view we got is Ilya Charles. Obviously that's deserved. That's a good one. Then you got, well, actually, going back to this, even when you have Pantoja versus Kai Kara, I actually think Kai Kara is deserving of it, regardless of what his ranking is. I actually don't even know what he's ranked. He is ranked number 4. That's not that bad. But when you look at Pantoja, he's literally beaten everybody. So I actually do think Kai Kara does deserve it, and that's fine. I know 125 pounds is not really a division that makes the UFC a lot of money. Not too many people really care about it that much. But that's fine. Honestly, maybe that's why they're making a more deserving matchup at that point, or at that weight class. But when you go to UFC 318, you have Max versus Dustin. This isn't for a belt or anything, or a belt that has any meaning, at least. So that's fine. Then looking through some of the other cards, UFC 319, obviously Dricus Hamzat. This is a tremendous fight, and obviously a well-deserved fight. So that's good. I mean, but I guess the point that I'm trying to make is there seems to be like a little bit of a trend going where the UFC just makes the fights that they want to make, as opposed to the fights they should make, or opposed to the fights that fans want to see. And I think this is a trend that's been going on for the UFC, that's not going to help them in the long-term future. But I guess we'll see what happens as time goes on, and hopefully we get some better matchups, more deserving fights, and yeah, I guess we'll see what happens. But yeah, that's what we got coming up. Some of the fight night cards that we have coming up are Blanchfield Barber, obviously snooze fest, nobody cares. Then you got the pay-per-view here, which is it's just all right. I mean, it's not a horrible card. There are some interesting fights on this. I mean, even Johnny Walker in the early prelims. I don't know if that's going to be official. We'll see. But that's an interesting one. Luke A. Holland's an interesting one. Van is always entertaining, so that should be good. And Bruno Silva does put on some exciting performances, whether or not he wins. There are exciting performances. Batista Patchy mix, actually, that could be a really good one as well. The newcomer Patchy coming over to the UFC, that could be fun. Holland Pfeiffer could be fun. Gaslam Pfeiffer could be fun. We'll see what happens there. The co-main event, it's whatever. So yeah, I mean, 316 is not the worst card ever, but it's definitely not that entertaining. Then you have the fight night coming up after that. This one it's just all right. I mean, the main event's actually real good. Finally, we could see Usman fight again, so that should be good against Buckley. Rose fighting again, but after that, it kind of falls off. Mansour is someone that I am interested in to see how his career pans out and where he goes from here. And yeah, I mean, Sai is an interesting one. Simon versus Charles Jourdain could be a good fight, actually. But yeah, and after that, this pay-per-view is legitimately good. Or not pay-per-view, this fight night is legitimately good. You have Jamal Hill and Roundtree, really good main event. Fiziev, Bahamondes, co-main, good one. Well, I mean, you have Curtis Blades on the card. That should be good. Sadi Koff is another guy that I think a lot of guys should look out for. I think he's very, very good. I know he doesn't fight all that often, but hopefully he can get a little momentum going for himself, fight a little bit more. I think he's going to be very good. And yeah, and then obviously after that we have this pay-per-view. This is probably going to be the best one for a while. It's Poirier Charles, tremendous main event. Pantoja Kai, that's actually going to be a really good fight as well, I think. Beneil Moicano, that's pretty good one as well. Royval Kopp is really, really good. Paulo versus Kopylov is it's okay, I guess. I don't know where Costa is at this point in his career. Hopefully he can get back to the old Costa, but he just takes such long breaks in between fights, so I'm not that confident that will happen. Jack Hermanson, G-Rod, that should be a fun, well, it might be a fun one. G-Rod's usually a fun fighter, but Hermanson usually utilizes his footwork, jab, kicks, and stays alongside the octagon. So see what happens in that one. Tafa and Deans, that could be decent. Yeah, I think 317 is going to be very, very good. So hopefully that does turn out to be. Obviously, we don't have much besides the main event for this fight night. Derek Lewis, Teixeira. I think Teixeira is a guy to look out for as well. I think he's going to be one of the top guys at heavyweight. I know heavyweight's not necessarily that talented. There's really just a few guys that are legitimately good, and everybody else is just a blob, essentially, and they'll get wins here and there. But the guys that I think are legitimately good at heavyweight are, let's go through it. Obviously John, but I think he's going to retire at this point. But besides him, I think obviously Aspinall is very good. Cyril Gane is decent. Volkov is decent. Curtis Blades, I think, is decent. Although he makes dumb decisions out there, I still think he has a lot of talent. Almeida, I think, has a future at the weight class, and that's really about it. So I think those guys that I just mentioned and Teixeira are the only guys that I think are going to be decent fighters at heavyweight, and everybody else is just a blob, basically. But then, yeah, then we have 318. I think this card is really not good, actually. We have the main event, which should be a really, really fun fight. But in terms of meaning, unless Dustin wins his fight and he wants one more fight for the title, if the UFC grants him that, I don't know how much meaning this has. If Max wins this, he's not going to fight Ilya, obviously, assuming Ilya does win the belt at 155. So I guess we'll see what happens. But in terms of the fight itself, I think it's going to be a very entertaining one. I think I lean Max in that matchup, but we'll see what happens. Brennan Allen, Marvin Vettori. I honestly like not the worst fight ever. I'm sure a lot of people don't really like that fight, but I don't think it's the worst fight ever. But I don't think it's a co-main event. I think that's a little ridiculous. I think it probably should be the fourth or fifth fight on a main card, but whatever. I guess it's an all right fight. Neil Magny, Gunnar Nelson to be on a main card of a pay-per-view is really insane. And even Islam and Adam Fugit as well. Same thing there. Ikram versus Bruno Ferreira. I think that's a decent fight, actually. But once again, I don't really think this is a main card worthy fight. I think it's like a really good fight for the prelims. Krut Pragnau, not a great fight. Vinicius Oliveira and Kyler Phillips. Oh, actually, I think this is out of order. I think this is on the main card. I saw this is a legitimately good fight. Very high on Vinicius Oliveira. So we'll see where his career goes. Yeah, so this actually might be out of order, but still, you would like to see some better fights. Maybe they add a couple on this card. Hopefully they do some big ones, and we'll see what happens there. Whitaker de Ritter. This should be a good one. Really excited about that, actually. This card looks to be pretty good, actually. So we'll see. We'll see what happens there. But really, the main thing that I wanted to talk about for this card is it's just the UFC just not making fights that should happen. I know they've got out of line a couple of times, and it has worked out for them a little bit when they did Sean O'Malley versus Peter Yan. That actually worked out for the UFC, regardless of who you thought won. A lot of people thought Yan won, and I think I would probably agree. I thought Yan won as well. But at the end of the day, Sean proved that he was on that upper tier level. And at that point, a lot of people didn't know if he was going to be on that level. So regardless of if he won or not, in your mind, he did prove that he is elite and he is legitimate. So that did work out for them. But I think because of that, or maybe some other matchups they had that did work out for the UFC, because of those success stories that they had, they think it's a good idea for them to just continue to push some guys that probably don't deserve fights and give them title fights or give them top contenders and just escalate and push them to the top ranked guys, or as I said, or even for a title when they probably don't deserve it, just because I think these guys are going to be stars. So yeah, I don't think it's a great trend. I think it's going to really bite the UFC. I think it already has to an extent. We'll see the level of matchmaking they do going forward. Hopefully they do improve upon it. But yeah, I have a video coming out next week. Hopefully you guys check it out, talking about all the things wrong with the UFC, how I think they can fix it, and why I think the UFC is going down this path of just not caring, essentially. But yeah, basically to summarize that video up a little bit, the reason why I think this is happening is due to ESPN. I think because the UFC gets a flat fee, they don't really care that much. Why would they? They can put on whatever events they want, and they're going to be getting paid the same amount of money anyway. So there's no real incentive for them to do any better than they are at this point. So I think that's a real problem for them, and I think that's a big reason for why we're seeing some of these cards. Because if you talk about back in 2016 or even back in the COVID era, besides UFC 317, which is a legitimately good card, like these cards are not good. There's some good fights, there's some good main events, but a lot of these cards are just really not good. They're very watered down, not much talent on it. And besides Hamzat versus Strikis, which is a legitimate fight that all fans wanted, we didn't get a lot of the fights that we wanted. We didn't get Ilya versus Islam. We obviously didn't get John Jones versus Tom Aspinall. I know Dana keeps saying it's going to happen, but it's been a while at this point, and we still haven't gotten it. So a lot of problems with the company at this point, I think. But we'll see what happens. We'll see how much they improve upon it, and or if they do, we'll see what happens with the potential Netflix deal, I guess. And yeah, there's just a lot of questions going forward for the UFC. But anyways, yeah. So I guess we'll see what happens. But I hope you guys enjoyed the live stream. I'll definitely be trying to go live a little bit more frequently, talk about some events. If there's any breaking news, I'll be sure to quickly hop on the live stream, talk about any breaking news, potential fight announcements, or anything of the sort that does end up happening. And yeah. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you did enjoy, check out some more videos. Be sure to subscribe. Check out more live streams. And yeah, and also be sure to follow me on Twitter, Juicy, MMA_Juicy, and also be sure to check out any upcoming videos that do come out. I do have another one coming out tomorrow, so be sure to check that out. It's going to be about John Jones. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out, guys.